So,
No,
yeah, I
this
mean,
is
they're
not
at
Jewish.
clubs, but it's
Are we
technically.
ready? Let's go.
I don't want to
So
like
it was
overstep.
No, you're not.
Can I stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Behind us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless them.
Dana, will you take the roll, please?
Trustee Solly,
Here.
Trustee Sulzer,
Here.
President Lamont,
Yes, I was distracted, sorry. Pam's fault.
Trustee Ehrlich,
Here.
Trustee Goldberg,
Here.
Trustee Hanky,
Here.
Trustee Hansen.
Here.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
I move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Act.
Okay, public requests and comments. Will everybody out there?
Pamela?
Pam, no public requests or comment, right?
Did everybody take a number before? You folks in the back there, can you hear us?
Let's get it here. So we have a new business item to consider the approval of the ballot proposal language for Class C liquor licenses. There's been a couple, about a resolution and then a couple potential ballot questions. I don't know, Pam and Mike, you guys kind of put this together. Do you want any comments or how?
I would ask that Peter give us, just set the context for us for this
Okay,
discussion, and if Mike and I have any comments afterwards, we can make them at that time, if that's all right with you.
that's great.
All right.
Does it, July's meeting, village council approved one liquor license. You only have one Class C liquor license allocated. So that one was already given, subject to elector approval. I prepared a ballot question because the ordinance and the charter states that for any on-premises liquor license that is initiated, the electors have to approve that. So that started that. But then it seemed like village council was desirous of approving a second Class C license, but we don't have that Class C license. So we're looking into the redevelopment issue. But I think they can move on simultaneous tracks where we can do the redevelopment question and have this ballot question on the November 5th election. So that precipitated me to go ahead and prepare both ballot questions and resolutions.
Well, so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've had discussions with Michigan Liquor License and Department approval, going back and forth with the hometown and scheduled this Thursday coming up with Susan to see how we best approach that. I have an idea, the stuff is pretty convoluted, so I think it'll be a good phone conference to initiate. I'm sorry, it's kind of.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, then the ballot language we're looking at today specifically focuses on the Gray Dog Cafe, but does not include the second license that we are endeavoring
That's
to
what the
procure.
paperwork is, yeah.
Say it again?
I'm not, yeah, that's what this paperwork says, but I don't know that's what we
Okay,
want to do.
so my understanding was that we have to go to our voters to get approval for both,
We do. When's
and that we don't want to have to go back and have a special election. So even if we haven't procured that license yet, our plan is to do so, and wouldn't it make sense to integrate that into this ballot and to make sure that we are getting approval from our voters on one issue for two licenses, one being the Class C that we currently have, and the second one being the small business
Well, I think it's proposed
administration.
as two separate ballot questions. Joe.
I don't see,
No, I've seen
I didn't
one.
get this
I
one.
don't-
There's, looks like there's two, and I didn't get
The
this.
note
only
that,
one.
the note that we got
There's
from
only one.
Dana had
think you're the only
two, I've got them,
I got 'em too.
printed
There's
mine.
two.
There's a note, but it wasn't with the package.
separate.
Two,
Yes,
I apologize if there isn't, but I think you guys can approve
Yeah.
both.
Okay.
Because it's identical language, it's just removing the Gray Dog from one, not adding Tangerine Lime to the other.
okay, I don't have that.
Well,
It's identical language, it just changes the address, the name of the business.
But
So
here's
are we
my,
saying that we were gonna have two ballot questions or one combined? It has to be two.
Yeah.
Okay, so one is gonna specify gray dog and the other is gonna specify.
Well, that's what we need to discuss.
But here's the question, wait, the question is, are both Class C?
Well,
I
that's-
thought one
again,
was
that's what
Class
I-
C and the
so,
other one was not.
Can we back up? So I have general questions. I read our ordinance. Our ordinance says that all that has to be approved, and I would believe when it says on premises, the premises has to be identified. But I'm not sure that it says anything about having to identify what type of license it is. The way I read it is, it's shall the Village of Franklin approve the application made by Gray Dog Cafe LLC for a license to sell alcoholic liquor, beer, or wine for on-premises consumption? Because that's all the ordinance requires. Why are we pigeonholing it to a Class C license? We don't even know when it comes to the tangerine wine what type it's gonna be, but I don't know where we have to, do we have to use the words Class C? Class C?
I don't think so, but I did confirm with both attorneys that whenever it's on premises, it is Class C, but, you know, I could appreciate.
Well, all right, well then, we need an understanding from, and you're the one who has the conference on Thursday, so please find out whether, if you're going down the avenue of a Oakland County redevelopment license based upon us having a principal shopping district, does that license become a quote-unquote Class C license, or is it called something else, a redevelopment license, or some other nomenclature? Where calling it something erroneously and then having a fault when we didn't have, or, let's say this, at least for the tangerine wine, do we have to specifically identify? For Gray Dog, clearly it's the Class C license that we have, so I don't have a problem as much identifying that, but it seems like if we're getting this approved in advance for something at the address of, it uses the word applicant, so I'm assuming there has to be a name associated with it, and it uses premises, so I assume there has to be a property associated with it. But when it comes to the tangerine wine, does it have to be so specific as a Class C? Or can we just say a license? Unless you find out on Thursday that no matter what, when you come through the process that we're contemplating, it will be a Class C that comes out the back end.
That was my understanding, speaking to the both applicants' attorney, that.
Okay.
When you have on-premises consumption,
It's gonna be a Class C.
But
Okay.
I'm okay with just on-premises as well, because the charter says that as well.
Good. I think we can.
It's less confusing to
Why
the
don't we
public
just-
too.
That's what I'm
Let's
trying,
just
I'm
use
trying to
the-
eliminate exactly as much detail as possible.
But why don't we just use the charter language, which is pretty generic,
what
sale
I'm
of
saying.
alcohol, liquor,
Exactly
beer,
what
or
I'm saying.
wine for consumption on premises, is approved and the name and address is approved,
Yep,
and
what I'm saying.
yes or no.
that's what I'm saying.
Simple
I'm
as
just saying, get rid of the words, a Class C on premises
Yeah.
liquor, and replacing it with a license to sell alcoholic liquor, beer, or wine for on premises consumption.
By,
So, did
by
anybody,
the name of the
Yeah,
company
yeah,
and the
yeah,
address.
the way it's
Yeah.
written, the name came
Yeah.
first.
forgive me for asking, did anybody just look back to what we did the last time we did this and what the language was that was approved?
I took it verbatim from,
Okay,
You did?
So-
from
Okay.
Franklin
grill.
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 So
Okay,
we
so
use
this
the
is
word-
the identical language.
So then,
But even,
since we're doing Class C, and there's no question about it for the Gray Dog, then leaving that language in there, and that's what we did in the past, seems fine. Thursday, if you could find out what it's supposed to say, or again, what's gonna come out the back end of an RDA license, then we just need to patch that into where Class C is written.
May I make a comment? Sure. Let me do this, Pam, and then we're happy to hear you. There's two paths that we're following parallel. One is to get a liquor license, so I don't have any problems with what you're proposing. I just want to make sure we're in the zone so we can get this on we can meet that August 13th ballot. The class, when you serve alcohol and sell it and serve it on site, it's a Class C license.
Okay.
Boom, that's it. Now, there are different subcategories of Class C licenses. And what we're talking about is the traditional route, let's get Gray Dog their liquor license. We've got this other business that we want to use one of those subcategories to cover. That, the one we're looking at is a redevelopment zone. Susan and Pam and I and Peter are looking at what the most expeditious and sensible route should be for that. We don't know the answer yet. It's unlikely to be a principal shopping district, primarily because the merchants have to vote to tax themselves. It's more likely to be a redevelopment zone. And by the way, the economic development people from the county are helping with this, so we're not out there all by ourselves. But it looks like establishing a redevelopment zone in our downtown can be an administrative action by this board, this council, but how that is supposed to be framed and what we have to do, I'm not sure yet. Does that help at all? Does that clarify it for you?
Okay, but except I'm looking at these forms that they gave us, and it
Yeah.
talks about on-premise license type, B hotel license, A hotel license,
Yep.
Class C license, tavern license, resort license, DDA redevelopment license. Separate category than Class C.
All subcategories, yes.
No, it
Doesn't
doesn't
look to
say
be
it's a
subcategories to me, it
subcategory.
looks just like categories.
Yeah.
Tavern, resort, you can, multiple Class Cs you can serve from different places on your property. Brew pub, which I think you're making it on site.
Yeah.
G1, G2, aircraft, and
Right.
obviously in the air, watercraft on a boat, train
Yeah.
on a train. So DDA redevelopment license is a different check, because it's upon base fee upon licensure, because it's like 25 grand, which is the issue for whoever, which will now be Raja, where Lisa's license is $1,000 and Raja's is $25,000. It looks like, from when I read that before, if you remember the
I
other
read
day, that
20,
was
but yes.
20 or
got it.
25, right, roughly. So that is my question for Thursday, is are we coming out at the back end with a Class C license, or are we coming out with a DDA redevelopment license?
It won't be a DDA because we're not a DDA,
But she said we might be a redevelopment.
but there's.
So the DDA slash,
Redevelopment process
Separate.
is separate and apart from the DDA process.
But
Okay.
it's,
Now,
Okay.
I learned today that we don't want to throw out the idea of a DDA yet. We probably will, but one of the things about a DDA is that you have to work out arrangements with the county to skim off their tax money. And it may not be possible, well, they're not excited about it. And part of what elongates that process, if you are going down the DEA path, is, and you want to take tax money to provide a revenue stream for your DDA, the county has to agree to it. And they can also pull it from you whenever they want. There is another kind of a DDA that we can establish that does not involve the county at all. It means we're not collecting any tax revenue, but we can establish a type of a DDA. So I don't want to call it dead yet. We just have to see if it makes sense. I don't know if it makes, we've got a nice 501c3 in Main Street. That covers 99% of what we need to do, in my opinion, but we're also doing new things,
so.
you know, so I'm not sure.
I thought those various types of, whether it's a DDA or a TIF or whatever, that the money that goes to that versus, and it gets taken from the county is only the increased tax.
That's the skim that I
Created.
was referring to.
Right,
Yeah.
so in theory, the county still gets what they were otherwise getting when the property was still in some dilapidated condition, and that's all they should get if they don't
Yeah.
wanna allow us to redevelop it. And I think over time, I think doesn't it, or, you know, I think it might ratchet up, I don't know, that's the question. If they're just stuck there, then yeah, I get that.
We just
where
have
they
to
lose
get,
out, yeah.
it's, you have to work it out with them, and they have to agree, and
All right,
that
that's-
these days, they are disinclined.
Not loving it.
So we just have to decide if that's a path we want to go down. I think there might be easier ways to get to where we need to go, is my only contribution here.
But we don't need to decide that.
We don't have to decide
Here.
tonight,
But
no.
it seems like if you don't put a name as to what kind of license, it just might be easier because it gives us more flexibility.
Yeah.
Seems simpler for the voter.
Let's not
Yeah.
constrain ourselves with
Okay.
extra language we
Exactly.
I
don't
agree
have
with
to.
that,
Right.
yeah.
So,
Right now, I
so
think we can leave a class C, but
Yeah.
I think that is right.
I
Let's
don't
leave
even know
it-
why you
Pam,
need, why
Pam,
don't you do both?
so our
of them?
legal
both
research
on-premise. Why
expert next to
confuse the
me
voter?
just searched on the state website, and it says that, I believe they're all Class C licenses. You
Yeah.
issue a Class C license and you're correct.
Yeah.
These are all subcategories.
Right, I've read them,
Yep,
yeah.
so you're right.
Thank you.
So then,
I'm
yes,
not a lawyer,
using.
but I tried.
No, well, right, so then using the term Class C is appropriate, because it wouldn't be a B, it wouldn't be an A, and it certainly wouldn't be any of these other items probably. And a DDA or whatever would fall under a Class C, so,
Yeah, we aren't gonna apply for that DDA type, we don't have a
Right.
DDA, so it's,
All right.
right,
Are you available Thursday?
yes,
Okay.
I'll try, I've gotta look at my calendar,
okay.
yeah.
Should we go ahead with what we have here for today?
I think it's appropriate to go ahead with what we have here with that editorial, edit that has been suggested.
Well, what's the edit that's been suggested?
why
'Cause-
Take out the word Class C from the ballot language.
I think you take it out of both, right? Take it out of both, and so you just don't have people questioning, well, should I look it up and,
We don't wanna draw attention to it.
right.
So we would strike the words,
still think it's a Class C, but let's just.
For a Class C.
after the word LLC, or the letters, the words for a Class C, those four words would be removed.
Strike, yes.
For a on-premises liquor license.
No, just the words for a Class C.
Well, I think you need to put on premises
On-
somewhere.
On premises is in the charter.
For an on
Well,
premises.
There's two ballots here, let's remember.
It says it in the
One
first,
is specific to,
there's
We
two
only have one.
sentences.
We're not gonna touch the gray dog one, that one, we're just
No,
gonna.
we haven't
No, we were
decided
talking
that.
about
We
the
haven't
gray dog
decided
one.
that. We're talking about both.
Why?
That's the one we
'Cause
have.
why not be the
in front of us.
same? Make it easy so no one's
you
confused.
have two.
But the gray dog is the Class C, so I don't know why.
Both
we
are the
would-
Class C.
I understand that. Our point is that the license that we have available to give to Gray Dog is a
We
Class C.
approved.
So there's no need to change anything. What we're trying to talk, or what the whole dialogue was, is how do we protect ourselves to give us our greatest flexibility for Raja or the second license? And that's where we do the removal. I don't see any need to
So,
change anything on the Gray
The only
Dog.
thing, and I think what I'm hearing from them, David, is if people read it and they see two different languages,
Right.
are they gonna be confused and be like, why is one
Right.
different than the other?
And they're gonna
then-
be Class Cs.
And then panic it,
Okay.
and panic.
Right.
So I personally think it should be mirrored, and whether we choose to reference the type of license or not is the decision to be made, and I'm pretty sure that from what we're finding out, unless you find out something completely to the contrary on Thursday, that it's gonna be a Class C that comes out. That's my concern is different language.
Yeah,
Makes
okay,
people have
that's
to
fair.
think.
Okay, so they're both gonna be the same
I-
generic language. Okay? What else do we need to talk about?
So we're not changing any words, is that
No,
what we're saying?
we're not
Pulling out
changing.
Class C. We're not pulling out.
We're
Do we
we're
need
taking
a-
out Class C.
No, we're not taking out anything. We've decided that we're calling them both class, right?
No, I
The
thought,
audience
We were
is
saying
getting,
take
the
them all
audience is
away.
getting rough.
Peter,
And-
can I ask you a question? When does this have to be approved by us?
I think it's August 13th or 12th.
It has to
Oh.
be to them by August 13th.
To-
We have to approve it before then.
And when is our council meeting?
The 12th.
The 12th. So if we can approve something, if we get new news
We'll-
as of
we'll change
Thursday,
it Fri-
we'll change it.
Monday.
So I
Correct.
think I think we're overcomplicating this. We can just
Yeah.
approve the language as
Correct,
is and then,
that's where I'm settling to.
yes.
And we change it, yeah.
When we find out if it needs to be changed, we change it.
Okay, so we are gonna leave all the language on both ballot proposals as is, so they're identical. Are we ready to make some motions?
I make a motion to approve the resolution to place on the November 5th ballot, the options for the two businesses and their liquor licenses.
I second.
any other comments?
Pam,
Pam had asked for some airtime, so Pam, did you want to speak to us?
Yeah, I just
Go
wanted,
ahead.
I just wanted to ask, we have a license in the village. How did we get that? It wasn't assigned to a business. We got that license somehow. Why couldn't we get another license to the village?
Per capita, we're only entitled to two.
we just randomly had one sitting out there.
We only have one.
Okay, then
We
we
had
can't,
one for the Franklin, and we had one more held in abeyance based upon our populace.
okay, but then we can't get another one if we
No,
get another.
Correct.
because we
We're
don't
only
have enough
allowed
people.
2 for the amount of people that we have
So-
in the village.
Not unless we double our
The additional
population.
conversation that we're having right now is there's a couple of things within Michigan law that allow you to establish some type of a zone or a district that
Right.
opens up an additional license.
Okay,
That's that redevelopment district thing we were talking about.
So we had to decide which of them to give the Class C, which we decided at our last meeting.
Okay, so we
Any other
have,
comments? So,
no, I'm good.
so I have a motion and a second to approve the ballot language. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So one thing I think we need to do and get really clear on this week is, given the terms of that redevelopment zone or that subcategory of Class C license, whether or not we need to have the name of I think we need the applicant in it for the village, because that's what the charter's requiring. Remember that, and we're gonna have more information on this for the council meeting, but the terms are different for this second Class C license. Does not become an asset of that business, it stays. And then
Stays.
it goes away if she leaves.
Correct.
So,
Can't take it with her.
exactly, and that's why, I mean, so it's just, I don't wanna I think we just need to get that all ironed out before we do a final check on this one. Make sure the language, I think it's good, but Peter's been working on it, so I'm
But we're
confident.
doing this to satisfy our ordinance, not to satisfy any state requirement.
yeah,
So we
that's
have to
right.
satisfy the ordinance, and
Yeah.
I read it says applicant and premises.
Yep.
So to me, that means they need to know who the applicant is and who the premises is.
Yeah, that's how it looks to me too, yeah.
so does the village pay for the $20,000 since
No.
we're
No.
gonna be paying that?
It's
No,
a-
but I know that's
It's an expense for
an
the
issue of
business,
that.
and, you know, that's something that, the business owner and everybody's gonna have to look at. It's a big expense, 20,000.
The biggest difference is
Well, I just need to make a suggestion, you need to talk to Tangerine Wine before you even go on with,
she claims.
with figuring out who the second one would go to.
I left a message for Raja to call, me or someone before the 13th.
Wait a minute, excuse me. Are you concerned that Raja is not gonna want this? And so we probably should ascertain
That's
by
exactly,
next week.
Yeah.
that's
if-
exactly what we're saying.
Correct.
Okay, I just want a clarification. Okay, thank you.
I did speak to Raj's attorney, and he was satisfied that we are moving in this direction, but I didn't get that from Raj, I got it from the attorney, so there could be a disconnect.
All right, so
To
she
me-
understands.
To me, the
what-
biggest difference, other than taking it from the city, the village, which if either of them wanted to do that, that would be catastrophic, and we think we baked it into the one that we gave. To me, the really biggest difference between the two is the cost of the license up front. Leases only cost the state $1,000, and Raj's cost $20,000. So outside of that, they both come out of it with Class C licenses and can build the business plans that they have. So that's, to me, the biggest issue right there.
I think the biggest issue is that owning a Class C liquor license is a huge asset
Yes.
and can be resold, can be moved. It becomes part of the value of her.
Completely get
The
that.
other one doesn't. That's
I-
a huge difference.
Well, it's stuck to the premises, so that doesn't mean if Raja sold her business to someone else, that someone couldn't assume that license.
I don't
That's
think
what you'd
so.
have to find out,
That's
or
what
that
we have
person would
to
just have to
Yeah.
reapply.
Repay,
But the premises would already have been approved for the license, arguably by us.
but they may still have to pay the 20,000.
Well, but we don't want to take the risk of our constituents
Approving something that's,
approving something that we don't necessarily have a use for if it's potentially going to cause us a problem on the initial license.
yeah, if the person we're trying to do it for it categorically says, don't waste your time, then okay, we won't waste our time.
then we need-
We're trying to leave all doors open.
Right.
And be as accepting as possible of the fact that we have two businesses trying to do the same thing.
Right,
And
okay.
Very
if they
good.
don't want it,
So
then
we have a hard deadline of next week, and we'll make that decision
Yeah.
then.
yeah, Yeah.
All right. Are we good?
So,
Okay,
like,
anything
are you
else?
planning, so are you not gonna really even submit it until literally the 13th?
No, I will submit it before then. If everything is said and done, I will go ahead and submit it. If we have to wait, then I'll have to do it Monday
Well,
night.
Well, what will have to happen is you have to just proceed with Lisa's and get that submitted so that we
Right.
don't
No, I'm
take a
talking
chance.
about the second license.
Right, yeah, and if we have to wait to hear from Raja until our Monday meeting, and then you call them on Monday or on Tuesday and say, pull the language for the second ballot.
I will have already reached out to
Yeah.
Eileen, and so they.
Oh, so we're only, this is only going to Eileen, that's as far as it's
Because
going?
it has to go to her, then it goes to the county. So that's how it goes.
All right,
Then it
good,
goes
so
to
if
the
we have,
state.
if it's in her control till Tuesday, then,
But does it have to get to the county by the 13th?
Yes.
So it has to go from you to Eileen to the county within a very short period of time.
That's what Dana's coordinating. Yeah, that's what Dana's coordinating, right?
The day after our council meeting.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
are we good?
By four
Yes.
PM that day.
Very good, thank you.
You're up. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready. Where's
Well, I was
our-
just gonna say, and just to, for logistical purposes, again, the thing that is most prudent is that we figure out whether or not Raja
Yes.
wants it, because that's ultimately the decision that we're waiting on. We've already approved the language, right? So,
So we all agree on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Done?
Adjourn?
That's it? Adjourned.
Bye, everybody, thanks for coming.
Yeah.